I sense someone who did not like and subscribe. Well, greetings and hello there, everyone. It is me, your Star Wars dad. I'm here today with Fatal, who runs the Playbook. Give us a hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. How are you doing, man?
It's going. It's been a busy day. It's going to be a busy night, but this feels like the moment where I get to relax for a bit before we're back on the saddle again. So looking forward to this.
Well, if I can help you relax a little bit, then I have accomplished my goals for the day. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's the hope, right?
So you were just talking before we got on a minute ago, and I'm gonna jump out of your roster for a second. No, I'm not gonna jump out, but Secrets and Shadows is tomorrow, and you've got 7-star Marin. So tell me about what the plan is there.
My expectations are actually pretty high right now. I actually think it might just end up being a one and done. You know, I've beaten Secrets and Shadows tier 3 in the past, but that needed someone else was willing to do an R9 DACA, and you know, we made it happen on their account. I'll be trying with, I mean, R8 is what I have, but I get the feeling that Marin being Marin, you know, sky's the limit. Like R7 might be possible, right? The event was so tight in terms of surviving that Sidious move. Having a full protection bar just kind of sounds like cheating. So I'm not going to promise a one and done, but I would not be shocked if it happened tonight. I'll be streaming that as the event goes live, and then hopefully have a video out for it in the morning. We'll see if that actually happens, but that's the hope.
So what is that, like 3 a.m.?
Yep. It's going to be an all-nighter.
All right, everybody, 3 a.m. Central Time. Tune into the Playbook as he streams Secrets and Shadows.
That's primetime hours, right? That's how that works, I think.
You'll be drinking Jolt and I don't know what else.
Oh, God, man. I switched to coffee. It's supposed to be better for me, right? That's how that works.
We used to get together in high school and drink Jolt. We thought we were awesome, man. Yeah.
Yep, that was... It was a special time.
Yes, it was a special time. So yeah, it's funny that tier 3 of that Nightsisters event has basically been impossible. Like you said, you did it with somebody once, but the pain involved for most of us, I think nobody wants to sit there for 4 hours trying to get through it and make it happen and get lucky that one time. But I think she should change the whole thing around and at least make that doable for everybody.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, who has ever seen a Nightsister's team and was like, oh yeah, they've got pretty good protection regen? Like, hopefully, you know, Survivor Cal ends up being a cool character that makes people want to farm some of his requirements. I mean, not all of his requirements necessarily look amazing, but I think Marin's a pretty good addition to that team, and so that is definitely one to look out for if you end up working on that track eventually. And you know, it's like if you ever use Mace in a Padme team and your protection bar keeps going up, and I didn't know they could do that.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you about the channel first. So, you've got a lot of great content out there that I think a lot of people have leaned on heavily over the years. Just real tight instruction guides, how to get through this event, that event, real good stuff. But you've kind of slowed down the content recently, right? I mean, what's going on there?
I don't have a good reason for it. I guess it's personal health is what I would say has been kind of a issue recently. Actually, that was the majority of what I was doing today, kind of trying to get that fixed. So hopefully we'll be back on the saddle soon. But I try to at least pop my head in when I think I have something unique to add or special to break that no one else is really coming in on. Specifically with the crate rate as well. I've been, the YouTube side of things has been slow, but Twitch has fortunately never slowed down, and so day 1, day 0 crate rate testing has been really good. Was able to put up some solid scores, although we're in this limbo where CG is like, hey, we know that you're running Bamblead, and hey, we know that you're running more than 5 teams. And the crate rate that we have right now, and the crate rate that we're going to have the moment they fix that, are going to be 2 very, very different things. But for now, I think I've been able to get some pretty good score margins. I'm not going to call it the minimum specs. If you want to do something like R7 Tuskens, it's almost like... I'm looking at this event like the camp mission. If you remember, you're going to have to relic stuff you didn't want to. You're going to have to remod and learn strategies you didn't necessarily care about, but it's going to be one of those guild-wide initiatives if you want to be in a community that takes it seriously.
So, go ahead.
No, it's just that's kind of where we're headed, I think, is CG wants us to engage with the game. I was the type of player who, when they flattened raid rewards for a year, I kind of just stopped raiding. So for me, it was kind of transition period getting back into it. But with these changes they've got coming tomorrow,
I think it matters. I think that everybody has a different definition or level of fun in the game, and you are playing a game. So,
yep.
If you're doing something once or twice and it's not fun, then you might be able to power through it and figure it out. But if you've been doing something for several months and you're not having any fun doing it, like I don't really hammer out on conquest. There's a lot of things I don't grind anymore. Just because I've been playing since the game came out and I've had several breaks, and I realized during those breaks, I can't be in a top tier guild where I gotta, report every TW battle and if I use the wrong team, I get booted. I just couldn't do that anymore. So I've learned to, I want to get high in Fleet Arena, but if I have a few days where I don't, I'm all right. The game's still there, and even like this last round of Grand Arena, I did a video. I took a round of Grand Arena off. I kind of have hit a wall where I am. If you're not up in that Kyber level, as you're progressing, you hit walls, where you,
totally.
where you can't get through anymore. And I'm at that wall, so it's like, what am I just going to keep beating myself? And I got some like personal stuff going on, and my wife's birthday, and then Mother's Day, and an anniversary. A lot of things going on right now. And it's like I just need a week off. Let's just skip it. So yeah,
I think it's as the game evolves and as CG, ever since Carrie left, it's been clear that one of CG's most valued metrics is our time with the game. And I think it's become probably the most important skill in this game is your personal time management. Do you really want to spend, X in such amount of time scouting someone in GAC? It was fun. I used to enjoy doing it a lot, but now it's like, no, I'm good.
Same. Yeah, exact same. It's like, you'd spend that half an hour, 45 minutes, hour maybe, scouting. I would make spreadsheets and write stuff down.
Yep.
I got to set this defense and that because they're going to set this and that. Now it's like, I'll be fine. I'll do my bit, because it would only make the difference, maybe really make a difference 1 out of every 15 or 20, times. Maybe in Kyber 1, it probably would make a difference every time, but there are just plenty of times where the thing would have turned out the same whether you did that or not. So it's not really, good time spent a lot of times.
But what I think happened too is I think more and more people are starting to, not scout or whatever in GAC. I think it's actually making GAC a little bit better because on some level, when everyone was like, calculating perfect banner counters and everything was super precise, it took the fun out of it in a lot of cases. I think it's just messy now, it's mud wrestling, just kind of everyone's making mistakes. And I think that's kind of when the game or when GAC is at its best is.
Yeah, I got you, man. I agree with that. Hey, I got 2 questions for you on your roster here.
Okay.
I see a Rose Tico Omicron. Have you had that from the beginning, or is that a recent add since they added Zori Bliss?
That was added in a post Zori World pre-Tuskens. Don't get me started. No, I will get started. I applied that about a week or 2 before they revealed the Tusken Chieftain, and Tusken Chieftain proudly announced, "Hey, you're not placing any Terminator trained teams on defense anymore. I hope you weren't planning on that." And I am not kidding at all here. So I applied the Omicrons. I posted the team on defense. I fought it against an opponent who recorded their battles against me. And the holds this team was getting, this was like the most torture possible. They were holding it against like Lord Vader, CLS, like Gas, just any. Think of like all the most powerful teams you could think of for that kind of bracket of team. They were going nuts. And I was like, okay, Rose Omicron actually looks like the real deal. And that was the last week of that 5v5 season. So, as these things kind of go, if you find out about a team, you're like, oh man, next time 5v5 rolls around, that's going to be insane. I can't wait to get back to that.
So
Tusken was it? Chieftain gets...
was it Finn, Rose, Zori, and who?
Resistance Hero Finn and Resistance Hero Poe is the way that I like to take that.
Okay.
I know it's more costly for the team, but the interaction, Poe has that unique where if you deal damage, you deal % health damage. That works with the chance to apply exposes, so you can basically double up on exposes, and that's kind of where that came from. Is you turn me to train so hard that like a Lord Vader was just forced to sit there and call it spectator mode, where he's just watching as your team gets rolled over and over.
Well, that might be something useful for people that aren't in Kyber, honestly, because where you are, you're in Kyber 1, everybody's got everything, so they got the counter for you. But for those people who are watching who maybe have the resistance, you've got Ray, and you're down in Erodium or Kyber 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, you might be able to have success with that Finn, Rose, Tico, Zori, Bliss, and the resistance heroes on... Or no, what'd you say? The resistance...
It's Finn, OG Finn lead, Zori, Rose, and then the bros, I call them the Arch Bros.
The resistance heroes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have Finn going fastest, you have them combo out, and then Zori hits the mass, and it's like 20 instances of damage at once. And, 1 in 3 chance for those to land exposes. You should be getting 7 on average. That's a full Terminator train, baby.
There you go. All right, folks, keep that in mind. There's a lesson for you right there. All right, I got one more question for you about your roster here.
Sure. I feel like there are a few, so...
there's always questions. Well, okay, I have 2. Now I got another one. Nightsister Initiate is Relic 5.
That was actually just done a couple of weeks ago. That was as a result of Marin testing. I was feeling... Like, the Marin testing was bad. We're kind of forced to do... If you want to do testing for characters, you have to do it without Omicrons in Arena. But just looking at the kit, looking at how fights played out, I was like 99% sure she was going to beat Jabba, and not only beat him, but like easily. But the thing that I knew was that when it came down to crunch time, let's say you kill all of Jabba's sides, you gotta finish him. And so, I don't think Zombie is actually a good fit for Marin, period. I think, especially if we're talking in GAC with Marin's Omicrons, she really, really just wants her team to die ASAP, and Zombie is kind of extra insurance. Like, they're kind of counteracting each other's game plans here. And so it's not Zombie. And then the problem with Spirit, like, fundamentally, I think Spirit is actually still one of the really cool attackers in this game, where they have that total armor ignore. The thing that got taken away from so many attackers because it was too good. You can still see Spirit just absolutely blow some people up. So Spirit will be the next candidate. But Spirit Basic removes Turn Meter. Jabba gains bonus protection when you remove Turn Meter. So then I say, okay, it's not Spirit. And then, if you remember, did you ever do, in the Heroic Sith Raid, did you ever do Deathstorm?
Are you talking about Anakin with the Nightsisters? I tried it, and I could never quite... I might have got it to work once or twice, and that was a thing for me, like we were talking earlier. I just moved on, and I didn't worry about it. But yeah, it was early in HSTR, it was the team in Tier 3... where you throw it out there and once you got it rolling, you just did basics with everybody, right? And yeah, and you just put it on auto basic, and they never stopped.
That is the Marin play pattern. I'll tell you right now, and I don't know if CG cares or not, but she has an infinite loop. If you have 2 allies dead and you have the Omicron and you're playing in GAC, you could just press auto basic and that character is guaranteed to die, unless you run out of time, I guess. But no, that was kind of the theory craft, is it's not Zombie, and Spirit is almost too good for his own good to use here. And so Initiate has those debuffs on basic. It's the same reason she was good in Deathstorm. And so that was the draft, is, all right, it's time to bring her up for the 5v5 GAC season. And I got to use it once, and then opponents said, okay, I'm just not going to post Jabba against you anymore. And so that Initiate got exactly 1 usage so far.
Well, there you go.
Fun times.
All right, here's my final question here. What's with young Lando and young Han Solo? I know that my pal Glurmit loves young Han. No, wait, was it Glurmit? Yeah, Glurmit loves young Han Solo.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You've got a Relic 5 young Han, and you've got a Relic 7 young Lando. I know that young Lando's ship is just Lando and L3, but was it that important to have a Relic 7 for his ship?
Young Lando was a niche tech for past GAC seasons for dash against JML, where it's actually technically due to a bug, but CG doesn't know these things, and so they haven't fixed it. But Young Lando was one of the classic ways to close. It was a theory craft by I think Jayla, or at least Jayla or Bladebaka popularized it, and so no, they vouched for Young Lando, and I kind of followed suit with it. I don't really remember taking them to R7 though.
Well, you did. Well, let me tell you.
Have a talk with past me.
I'm going to say right now to my folks, everything you've just heard out of this man's mouth is way beyond anything that I'm capable of in the game. So we're talking to a gentleman here who can look at characters and figure out exactly how the mechanics are going to work together, while I'm out there just throwing rocks at glass houses. So and hoping that something happens. So
listen, man. No matter what you think, just remember, no matter who anyone is or what they say in this game, that's all any of us are. We've just thrown a couple more rocks and broken a couple more houses along
That's
the way.
awesome. That's awesome.
Nope, nobody is good at this game. I don't care who you are or who you think you are. We're all just doing our best.
Right. All right. So Fatal, tell me here, what is your Star Wars story? When did you first encounter Star Wars and fall in love with it? How'd you get here?
My first exposure to Star Wars, I still remember this very vividly for some reason, was my dad wanting me to show it to me, and I think I was like super young at the time, and my mom was saying like, no, he's way too young, and she was probably right for her own reason, because it just captured me immediately. I was like, nah, maybe you should have waited, because I was just like, stuck in it ever since. Pretty quickly, I moved on to kind of, I guess you would call it the expanded universe. Probably now a lot of it's just legend stuff of all of the books, a lot of the games. I think Star Wars Episode 1 Racer was my first game, which probably dates me to
oh yeah
to a very specific bracket. But I didn't really have access to a good computer to play games at that time, so I missed out on a lot of the good classics from back then. It's I've had varying degrees of enjoyment with it over the years, but it's still kind of, I drank it in at a very, critical age. One of the quotes I ever heard is that I don't remember half of what I learned in chemistry class, but I remember what kyber crystals are and all of that sorts of non-essential stuff necessarily.
Hey, you are missing an arrow mod on Omega, by the way, just FYI.
Oh yeah, no, it's my mods are constantly in flux, let's say.
Well,
I remod for TW, I remod for GAC. I'm one of those sickos. It's one of the things I enjoy most in this game, actually.
Man, yeah. I gave up on remodding a long time ago because, again, it just felt like work after a while. I'm like, I'm just... I have more fun making the content and hanging out with my community. And to me, that's the most fun that I have doing the game. And that's worth it for me. It's worth my time. So,
I passed that threshold personally, and Hot Utils swept along, and it was like, you too can still, have a semi-enjoyable experience. I wish it didn't cost money. Like that's always the thing, right? It's like, do you really want to pay a monthly subscription for this? But for me, that type of stuff is my favorite of the game. So I was like, it was kind of a no-brainer if I wanted to continue playing.
Yeah. This is crazy. Mace Windu Relic 9 is your number 2 non-GL number 2 ranked Galactic Power character in the game besides GLs, and you don't even have his leader. I don't know if that's a Zeta or whatever it is there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. So this is the weird thing though, right? Is like, I've definitely made it to endgame now, and so like my account looks very different. But at my heart, I started playing this game way after everyone else, and so this whole time that I've been playing this game, I've always had this whole, I played for extreme min max. I was very much like, sell me on this character. Why do I need to take this investment? I'm never upgrading anything for the sake of. I'm only taking stuff if it's good. Famously, apparently some people didn't like it that Admiral Trench came out. And I had his 7-star shards, but I left him at gray level 50 because I didn't think I was going to use him. And I only kicking and screaming geared it up. And I still don't think I'm necessarily wrong on that. I could have saved that gear, but yeah, I still kind of have the heart of someone who's not really willing to just upgrade for the sake of upgrade. I don't play this as a collector. I play this as a competitor, and so yeah, my mace isn't fully maxed. Am I going to ever use his lead? If I'm not, I'll save those Omegas. We're not exactly super crunched on Omegas right now.
I'm just really amazed that his galactic power is so high, honestly, just with...
galactic power is such a weird system, man.
It is.
If you're looking for stuff to put on blast on my account, I could very easily.
What's that?
Scion and Wrecker are usually the two big question marks. They are very much dated out for their time.
Scion and Wrecker are question marks. See, because you haven't Relic 9 is what you're saying?
Yes.
Why not, man?
They had a really good usage at their time. I had a lot of fun with them. They definitely don't matter now.
Well, when Bad Batch first came out, people had a lot of trouble dealing with them for a while.
They were both born of this era where there was a theory crafting period pre-Datacrons where the best theory crafting tool you could have is if I do a really, really weird, ambitious Relic 9, you can break up with a GL matchup sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had Bad Batch versus Rey winning consistently. I had Traya against Lord Vader. I guess everyone knows it at this point from when the Datacron came out, or Omicron came out and broke that matchup. But you could do it without the Omicron back in the day. It was just you needed a Relic 9 Scion.
Yeah.
And then you needed a really specific strategy, and it was one of the hardest counters I've ever made. But it could work. It was fun. I don't necessarily regret those, but those definitely get the most eyebrow raises, I think.
It's the hard part of chasing what's working right now, and then 2-3 months down the road, it's not working anymore, and now you got a Relic 9, whoever, and we talk about a lot of the channels chasing the meta. I talked to Gerbil about it, chase the fun, not the meta for new players especially. You just can't. You gotta manage that lineup a little bit and make sure you're tight in there with your farms. So
it's so tough with all these seasonal teams now. I mean, I'm mixed on it, right? Because on the one hand, CG's doing a good job of keeping things mixed up and keeping things fresh. And I don't necessarily like how Datacrons are distributed. I think it's still too grindy for what is essentially, at some point, it is kind of essential if you want to take the competitive side of the game seriously. Mm-hmm. So you have to do it. And I think it was around set 2 where they turned the lever a little bit too high and things were farming crazy fast. And I understand why they dialed it back, but I still think we could probably get back a little bit more towards that side of things where, open up the valve a little bit, let more players just, not have to do 3 to 6 conquest refreshes a day to interact with the system. But you want to talk about teams like Afra, right? I think Afra is the poster child for this because her seasonal Datacron, the B2L3 team was my brainchild. I'm super, super happy with that team and how it did. But I almost didn't want to tell people about it because it was okay, if you're going to start working on Afra, you're going to get her by right a little bit before the time where that Datacron expires. And I would say one of Afra's biggest haters, if you're not talking about the Datacron, if you're just talking about Afra's base kit herself. I'm not going to say she's absolutely unusable, but for what it takes to get her, I don't know. You could do a whole lot better, I think, for that type of
yeah, but
investment.
It's like you said, seasonal. Who knows when you're using Datacrons up there in those high Kyber levels, that you might have a Datacron next time around that works, and so you're kind of stuck having to have a lot of teams that are waiting for those Datacrons, so yeah.
I just don't like recommending stuff that I know has an expiration date because right, that feels so bad to me. I was seeing people saying oh man, I finally just got Afra on the day of that Datacron expiring, and it was just I'm happy for you, man, but I wish the best for you.
Well, let me ask you this. And guys, we're talking to Fatal the Playbook. I'm going to put the links to both his Twitch and YouTube channel. And you're more active on Twitch now, right? You're going to be on there at 3 a.m.
I'm still super active on Twitch. It's just I need to
3 a.m. Doing the Secrets and Shadows, everybody. So keep an eye out for that. You're going to put that on YouTube, though, right? When you figure it out.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, the stream might actually end up being super short if it's an instant win. I'm just going to go try to power out a YouTube video and then
there you go.
Fall asleep immediately.
So if you were gonna, and still be the last thing I've got for you. But if you were gonna give one piece of advice or one thought about the game to the community out there, what would be the thing you would say at this moment in time?
I would say stay skeptical and find the right rooms. There's a whole lot of emotion and misinformation that tends to fly around in a lot of spaces in this community. Even I think it was Dark Loquitur or Loquitur. Sorry, I really forgot it.
Dark Loquitur. Yeah,
maybe
he's my buddy.
He had a really good video looking at the raid rewards where he quantified everything out, and up until that point, people kept on saying, what do you think? What do you think? And I said, I'm gonna let someone who knows what they're talking about with that stuff do the work. I'll see what they find, and go from there. And he did the work, and things actually look pretty okay. That it's kind of a side grade turning towards a slight upgrade. I was like, okay, so it seems like things did pretty okay, and they're making the changes for tomorrow that hopefully the crate will be even more approachable for early mid-game guilds. So I would just say, whether it's a new character and whether they're trash or amazing, because it's very rarely either, it's usually in the middle, whether it's, you know, some big piece of news or something everyone's reacting to, just be careful about what you buy into. Don't necessarily buy the hype on a character just because they're new. Trench being my favorite example, but even just especially in a lot of places this year, just because a character is new or shiny doesn't necessarily mean they're exciting. CG needs to do the work. CG needs to convince us, you know?
Yep, I hear
you. They write
that.
a lot of words, but they can't make me play them.
All that makes sense, even though we're still missing arrow magnifiers, no matter how they cut it. So
I'm hoping that they still spread that a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
I know that
hopefully.
they're like doing a slight push, but it's...
And
we'll see,
I agree with you. Now, I did actually do a Crate Dragon video just talking about the mess, because I think it was a mess. However you cut it, even if you do a bunch of complex math to figure out that it can be okay at certain levels, the way that it felt at rollout was so bad. And the fact that they even said in the announcement, they said, oh, we forgot about guild currency. Like, they just forgot about it. And, you know, the impact of not getting that guild currency for anybody that's picked up the game in the last 3 years. I mean, your executor farm slows down, your CLS farm slows down, you know, it slows down your gas farm. It just impacts so many farms negatively by not having that.
right.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not one to rush to it either, but man, I was streaming a roster review, and all anybody would talk about the whole time was the Great Dragon raid. It was crazy. So
that's how things tend to go, right? There's always the hot button issue, the controversial new character. Is X character trash, or is character overpowered?
Yeah, I don't engage in that, and I don't like to say. I really don't cover the new kits when they come out, because for one, Arnold's got it covered. You know, he's got you know, the monopoly there. But for two, I never think I know how the character is going to work until I throw it on the field and play with it. You know, like you see a mechanic, and there may be a mechanic in there that stands out, but man, how many times have we said, "Oh, this is going to be amazing," and then it gets out there and you're like, "It's average." Like you just said, you know, it's all right, it's fine, but you know, anyway.
I think it's just a question of who you, again, kind of be decisive on, you know, the communities of the rooms that you listen to, because I'm not like trying to necessarily pimp myself here, but you know, when CG does a kit reveal, I'm not necessarily saying I'm skeptical as in like I'm contrarian, but it's like, okay, cool, they made a new kit. Okay, prove to me why I should care about this character.
Yeah,
because especially, you know, I call it the rule of 22 or the rule of 16 for TW, is we're in a what, 8-year-old game, something like that. We're getting there. CG has made a lot of characters and a lot of teams, and so at any stage of play, you need to look at your best, let's say 22 teams, best 16 teams, and then ask yourself, will this character actually matter for my roster, my collection? You know, if you're someone who doesn't have Nightsisters, suddenly, okay, cool, they made Marin. Do I have the budget to actually like work on Nightsisters now? Alongside, we're about to get a new ship where Java is insanely good if you don't have them yet, right? Like, the rule of 22, I think, is perfect because it fits into so many different types of rosters. It fits perfect for endgame, because if you're endgame, we have 7 GLs, probably, you know, CG does what we know exactly what they're gonna do. We'll probably have 8 in a few months. You know, we have X number of insanely good teams. So they print someone like Saw Gerrera. It's like, Tarful and Saw Gerrera, like the flavor, the thematic, they did a pretty good job. I'm never gonna be able to play them. Like, you know, I'm supposed to hope that like Saw Gerrera is gonna take down Malagus or Reaver or something, or what are we talking about here, right? It scales both ways for both types of characters. Yeah, just ask yourself, what is this character really offering for me? I'm not trying to tell people not to be excited when they do cool stuff.
I gotcha.
Everything I do in this game is low to the ground. You know, it's very much about what's in my account, what's affecting me short term, what should I work on next, and yeah, you just got to stay shrewd. You got to stay harsh. Find what works best for you.
I'm with you 100%, man. You nailed it on the head. So, all right. Well, Fatal, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully this was, I don't know if I rambled too much, but I had fun. Appreciate you having me.
Fun and educational for all, and I appreciate your point of view, man. This is great. Everybody make sure to check out that Twitch channel for sure, and YouTube. I'll put them in the video description. Have a great day. We will talk to everybody soon. I hope you enjoy yourselves, and always remember, Nooch too good.